Hi there, I'm Andrea Darlas, and I'm here today interviewing some of the cast members of Robert Alanis's latest film, Honest to God. I'm so happy to have with me Diana Kleinaitis, who plays Mrs. Tucker in Honest to God. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm very happy to be here.
I love your character in this film because she really provides some much needed comic relief, you know, at just the right times.
Right.
Is that how you felt when you were portraying her?
Definitely. I actually loved playing her. I love the way she thinks, the way she acts. It's a great character. I'm glad I was able to portray her.
Tell me a little bit about you auditioning for this role. I've heard some different stories, but it's kind of a fun process. When you were not auditioning for this particular character.
I heard about the character, but it was not somebody like me. It
Right.
was supposed to be somebody completely different.
Much older.
Much older. But when I heard rich and had a dog and everything like that, I kind of thought about like LA, carrying a dog in a bag and things like that. And so I think I brought like a completely different turn on who Miss Tucker was supposed to be. And the thing is, when I got there, the other person that was going to audition was completely opposite. So I was like, I'm either doing something really right or something really wrong.
Right, you're going to find out soon enough.
Exactly.
And you brought a dog to the audition.
I brought a dog. I had like my purse and I stuck a stuffed animal. No, it was a stuffed animal. I don't have a dog. So I was like, okay, what can I do with this? And so I looked in my closet and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I said, okay, because I wanted to put that vision in saying, oh, I could do this. This is something I want to do, and it's my part already. I already had it down.
It's so cute too. This is, like I said, such a likable, fun character. I think everybody has a Mrs. Tucker. Everybody has, I don't want to say a nosy neighbor,
Right.
but a neighbor like that, maybe who likes the next door neighbor a little more
Right.
than they should.
You know, people can portray this or perceive it however they'd like. I take it the nice way. I always just went like, you know what? I was a divorcee. I had my dog. I had this beautiful house. I had all this money, but I really didn't have any friends.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like playing like, oh, hey neighbor, can you, So it was more like I saw it as more of a friendship, but like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
Yep.
even though he was an adorable, sweet, loving guy next door, but so that's how I saw it. So. I don't know. I thought so.
What makes Mrs. Tucker like Danny Adams so much? And I preface it by saying this. Danny Adams is not the most likable character at first.
Right.
You know, he's a little curmudgeon, he's grumpy, passes the homeless people on the street.
Right.
You know, he just has some things going on in his life. But yet Mrs. Tucker really likes him. What makes her like him so much?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was actually wanting to force him to get his attention. More like, I'm over here, come see me, look at me, and sometimes it's kind of like the person who kind of pushes you away that you want to pull forward.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like started out like that.
You've worked with Robert in at least 2 other films.
Yes, I have.
What made you want to come back and work with him again?
I am very, very happy that I did that. And I can discuss that about the cast and about the director and everything like that. But this one just, even though I'm sure that you've heard from before that we've had some problems here and there and different things, it's just the way it came all together and the people, and it was like a small little family. It was kind of like the little engine that could, I think I can, and I just wanted to be a part of it. I really wanted to be a part of something that Robert did. I loved playing my character from in the past, both Heavens to Betsy's, and I was just really, really happy that I could do it again.
You talk about this film being the little engine that could. It stopped production, then it came back, and almost didn't get made. Talk about the challenges, of as an actress going through COVID,
Right.
and having everything just shut down, and then slowly come back.
And also. As a woman, hair color changes, haircut changes. I had a little problem with that. We had to change that up a little bit.
Tell us about that.
Well, we did start filming, and then we had to stop for a little bit because of COVID. And it was kind of like, well, when were we going to start? We didn't know. So it was kind of like, it's not something you can plan for. And it was funny because one of the days that we did was outdoors. It was like a summer, but it was like November. And it was like, okay, let's get together. It's sunny. It's beautiful. We're going to pretend it's nice nice day, and and so it was just like something we kind of put together last minute because we could film outside because of COVID. So it was just kind of like the different things. Oh, and then when we filmed again, I was doing everything on my own. Like Daniel wasn't there, but I was shouting at somebody or talking to somebody. And yes, that's acting. People do that all the time, but it's not something that I had to do.
It's hard.
So
it's hard
like,
to
please,
do that.
Give my eye line, try to stand there, and so it was interesting. So I'd like to see the movie. I haven't seen it. I've seen bits and pieces. So I'm hoping that I can look at that and it all flows together. Like you can't say, well, that's the one time where she's talking to the tree or something like that. So
you can't tell at all. No. You can't tell you're talking to a tree or someone other than Daniel or the pretzel.
That's all that matters. Thanks. Great.
Talk a little bit about your career. When did you get the acting bug? I know you've been in Empire. You've been in a lot of movies and TV shows that have filmed throughout Chicago. But
it was kind of like the crazy thing. It was like, should I go back to school? Should I do this? I was teaching, then I left teaching. I was married, and then I wasn't, and just different things. And I was just talking about this downstairs. It was kind of like something that I wanted to do for myself. It was kind of like something like, how everybody says I want to do something, but then they just don't because life gets in the way.
Right.
So it was kind of like one of those things, how this is like very, very when it very starts. And so I kind of like stood in a big line, and said, oh, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it was like a very long line, waited, had a card. And it literally, this guy came up to me, had my card. He had 2 boxes, and he looked at me, looked at my card, and then just dropped it in, and he said, okay, thanks. And then they called me the next day. And so I was like, okay, this is great. And then it just kind of led on. But yeah, when you said Empire, that was one of my favorites because I did some extra work on that, which I loved because you learn different things all the time.
Sure.
And then I was a stand-in, which I absolutely loved because you're on set and you learn even more, and you get to talk to the actors and everything like that. But then it ended up being a speaking line for me.
Wow, how cool. Talk a little bit about the difference about being in television, where it's kind of just recurring, in the stand-in roles, and being in a feature film.
Oh, if I could do feature films more often, I would do feature films more often. I think it's more, you can't say slower, but the pace is a little different. In TV, I think maybe you could do 1 30-second scene probably for 12 or 15 hours, and it would be the exact same thing, and then you see it on TV and it might not even be in the scene.
Right. Or it might be cut.
That's what I'm saying. It might be cut. And actually I've had that too. We've had Polly that was on here. We both did a scene together for another show on Amazon, and our faces got in for a second, but both of our lines got cut. So, but it was interesting. That's what was wonderful about Chicago, because it is small, and then I got to reunite with her here, and then we became really good friends, and we talked more, and it was funny. We could laugh about something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it happens to you, it's not funny. But
and what's cool about you two is that you have a whole different career, aside from acting.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yes, I am a special ed teacher. I have my master's in education. So I teach at a special ed school, which is interesting. I love it because they're all different, but they all can be themselves. At this school, because it is a special ed school. And I'm the type of teacher where I try to teach the way, I want them to learn. I want them to do and try all these different things, and we go on field trips, and I want them just to experience everything.
So it sounds like children obviously are very important to you, and teaching kids, and it kind of brings it back to the central theme of this movie, which is family. And whether it is the next door neighbor who's being funny, it just, I think it all comes back to family and your faith and loving each other.
Definitely, and that's exactly why I want to be part of the faith-based, community. Is I just want to be a part of where I don't have to say or do something that I don't want to, but not only that is I want to be able to ask whoever wants to attend the films and say, you know what, maybe she shouldn't see it or something like that. And I just think that that's very important because there's not that much out there right now that you can do that. Even as a teacher, we'll try to put something on, and even like I stick with the G, honestly, rated G, because you can't believe what they slide in there nowadays, and it's sad. It really is, with the violence and everything else, and it's not just, it's just everything.
Yeah, it is. So, but yeah, it just seems like everything in this film just kind of comes back to the same central beliefs, you know, community, togetherness.
Right. Definitely.
So I think you probably see that as well.
And faith, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you want people, when they see this film, to take away? What's the takeaway that you want people to go home feeling, or the message that you want them to take home?
You know, that's a difficult question because I think everybody will see it differently when they see it. But I think what they'll take, because what I take is I see myself looking at how one day something can happen and how the next day you can look at it completely different. I mean, there's a few different things that change around, and I, you know, of course, don't want to say, but somebody says something and it really makes you think, like, you know, oh, was it like that all along, or did you just perceive it differently? And that's how I think, like, people do it always. You know, like, it's kind of seeing, is your glass half full or glass half empty, you know? So that's how I see it. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
And this leads me to my last question for you, Diane.
Okay.
If you're told you have 3 weeks to live, what do you do?
Yeah.
You, Diana, not Mrs. Tucker.
No,
okay.
Mrs. Tucker.
Okay.
Yes, no, me.
Yes.
You know, I am very lucky. I have a wonderful family. My mom's, you know, I very close. My sister's very close. So I really don't believe that, like, I would jet off somewhere or do something. You know, people will say that, but then you're kind of like going away from everything. And if you only have 3 weeks, that's really not a long time. So I honestly think that I probably would live everything kind of the same. I don't know if I would tell anybody, because then they would act a little bit different. Because, like, I do know, like, we did that with, you know, family members, where you just don't tell them because they change and so does everybody around them. So I think I just probably would spend more time doing things. But maybe I would throw something exciting, like maybe jumping out of a plane or something. That I probably wouldn't do in case I got hurt. But if I was going to die anyway, that might be something exciting to do. But maybe something like that. But I'll just say, you know, otherwise just regular, you know, Diana.
Being you.
Yeah,
being Diana.
Me. Exactly.
Diana Kleinaitis, thank you so much. It's a pleasure talking to you.
It was such a pleasure.
Best of luck with your careers.
Thank you. I
careers,
appreciate
plural.
Careers, definitely.
Thanks, Diana.
Thanks. I appreciate it.